Just waiting for it to actually go live. See if we're going to be like last week.
This says it's live.
I'm live as well.
Okay.
So
all I see is the top of your little head and those things that I don't like.
What do you mean the top of my little head?
You look squatty.
It's the same way we always sit.
It's the table. I don't like the table.
Well, we'll have to get us a new table, but I don't like it without the table.
Fine.
So they don't need to see our. You've been complaining since we started this show 203 episodes ago. You don't want them to see your legs. You don't want them to see your body.
I don't like you see. I don't like when people see my legs. I don't know why.
I don't either, because you at least got little thin legs. You don't want them seeing your little
my fat belly.
Belly looking all rotund.
I'm not rotund. And
we just need to get a smaller, little shorter table.
We need a shorter table, like down here.
Don't we have that other table that we were using?
Yeah, it's in the.
And then we didn't like it for some reason.
Because that one's too small. So then we're like this. I'm trying to type up.
Well, how about you don't get a table and I'll just have a table?
Or I'll just bring my own table and you use that table, but like off to the side.
But then that opens back up to where they see our whole body stuff, which we weren't doing.
They won't see our body. Because like right now, literally all you see is here up. Because this table, I know, but that's like just this to me. I'm so short.
Well, get like this.
Let me sit on a pillow.
You sit up at the edge because the edge sits up higher.
Now I'm like a news reporter.
As you should be. This is a show. It's not like you're casual chilling at home.
I'm trying to chill at home, but I don't want y'all to see my feet and my legs.
Your feet are fine. It's the rest of it.
I mean, my feet are cute. People have told me my feet are pretty because people have weird gangly toes or weird long middle toes or the toes that lie on top of each other.
Your feet are fine. It's the rest of you that leaves some to desire.
Now we're crooked.
Just who cares anymore?
I care. And then look how this looks. It looks weird because of this table and that table being on top of each other. This is very disturbing.
What are you talking about? It looks weird. How does it look
weird?
Because
it's like table to table.
But if you actually look at it, it doesn't look like table to table. It looks like that's the front of our table. It looks like a news desk.
Fine.
It looks like we're at a news desk. Welcome to News 811.
The camera is crooked, and I don't like it, and I apologize to the one viewer that we're going to have.
You're the one fit, and nobody's going to even see it.
They might. I'm about to share the link right now.
Let's just move on.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of
Marriage Dysfunction.
That's why it's Hollywood Matrimony, because this is a marriage of craziness and disasters and movies and love. I love you. Anyway, we are going to talk about some movies today. I don't even know what they are, and I won't remember any of the actors' real names. So there you go.
Well, thankfully, we only going to talk about 4 things. It's a little different show today. We're not talking about any big releases that were on pay-per-view today. We're talking about 2 documentaries that are came out on DVD, and we're talking about 2 classic comedies.
There you go.
So there you go. You don't have to remember any. The actors you're going to remember, and one movie is your movie, and you remember them anyway. The other movie, you won't remember any of the actors, but it's a classic movie. And the other one's a documentary, so you don't need to remember the name.
Oh, that's true. Okay, thank you for making me feel better. Anyways, make sure you check out our website. I have to make her feel better that she's dumb. Let me do my part.
You just told me to
Yes, I'm doing my part of the show. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Make sure you go up to the contest button for free stuff. You can also find us right now on YouTube, Facebook, and we're on Instagram and the Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR. Now it's your turn.
Oh, am I allowed to speak now?
You can speak now. Thank you.
All right. What do you want to talk about first? We have 2 documentaries, 2 comedies. Want to go through the classic stuff first?
Sure, why not?
Those will probably be the shorter discussions. So I'll go with yours first, because of all of these, we both watched all of them except for one. There's one I've seen and I had no interest in watching it again, but she loves it. So I'll let you tell everybody about this.
Oh my gosh.
This little thing here. Now it's going to not move. All right.
Okay.
What do we got?
Today, we are talking about Clueless, the 25th anniversary edition.
It's the 20th.
20th? Where's the thing?
I don't have the paper.
Open it.
Oh, crap.
There's a paper there.
Anyway, go ahead. 25 years.
25th anniversary. I feel old.
You are old.
But
you're a grandma.
I am a grandma. But you know what the cool thing about this movie is? It still feels kind of fresh to me.
Does it?
I think it's still relevant. I think a lot of the terms and the lingo and a lot of the references are still being used today. I mean, a lot of this stuff comes up, and it's from this movie. This 25th anniversary, it's a steel box edition. You're supposed to knock it, babe. Steel book. Knock it. There you go. Steel book edition comes with some really cool. Oh, you hit the dog.
I think I hit the dog.
Some really cool behind the scenes information.
I looked down to make sure he's okay, and he's licking his man business.
Oh no, poor baby. It comes with some really cool behind the scenes documentaries There.
See, that's why I didn't want to put it the other way, because it would have just fallen right off. But there's this. Okay, so here's what's happening. This dumb table is warped in the middle.
Yes.
So it like sinks down, and so when I moved it up, it was tilted, and then it fell over. Anyway, go ahead.
This is just a very unprofessional organization.
This is a stupid ass show. Go ahead.
Anywho, there's one documentary or one behind the scenes thing in particular where they were trying to make it very fresh and modern. So they were coming up with all of the lingo and jargon.
The annoying talk.
Yes.
It's the most annoying discussion.
I love this movie. And
I really hate this movie.
And it was talking about how they were having to learn just like a new way of talking. How do you not find it funny? Why do you hate it? How do you hate it?
I never understood the appeal to the movie. Like, I get it to certain people, I guess. I can see how girls can connect to it because, you know, you have the girls that are all about like the makeup and the money and then this, and you have the other girl that wants to be friends and wants to be fit in and whatever, that kind of stuff. I get that whole vibe. The rest of the movie and their stupid dialect, just that's what loses it for me. The way they talk is just stupid and annoying. And it made me just, all I thought about when I watched this movie is how stupid they are. That's all I see is how stupid these people are. Like, I love Paul Rudd. He's fine in it. You know, some of the other characters, but like all the female characters aren't actually stupid. But when I hear them talk, it makes me say, you're a stupid human being.
And see, that becomes the point of the movie.
I know.
She realizes that she's kind of clueless about life.
I'm aware of that, and it's in the title, but it annoys me because I don't like stupid people.
Well, in the end, it's a love story. It's a story about friendship and all that.
And I hook it up with her brother?
No, it's not her brother.
Is it her stepbrother?
No.
That's how long it's been. So I swear.
That's why she keeps saying he's not my brother. You just married his wife one time. But
so that would be her stepbrother.
But it wasn't his kid. They're not at all related.
But that would be a stepbrother. That's what a stepbrother is.
Technically, yes.
No, technically, that's what a stepbrother is.
But they weren't married anymore, so they're no
longer
longer related.
That's still her stepbrother.
No.
Yeah.
I agree with her. It was not her brother. They're not related in any way anymore because their parents were divorced.
It was still her stepbrother.
No.
Yes. You can say no all you want because you're a pervert.
But if you have different parents and I have different parents and somebody marries each other, that doesn't make us anything.
No, you're related by marriage. You're a stepbrother and sister.
Technically, but no one.
I have a cousin that had that life.
Oh my Lord.
That he was dating.
I'm my own grandpa.
He was dating, he was dating a girl. And then his dad met her mom. Ew. They got married.
Ew.
And I believe they still dated. I don't know. I don't remember. But
weird.
See? It's the same thing.
I know, but then their parents got divorced.
Okay,
so now he just came around.
But either way, that's not even the weird part to the movie. The movie just annoyed me because they seem dumb.
I think it's a very good movie. It's funny. It's classic. You've got to watch it.
I know a lot of people love it.
If you've never seen it, please watch it. Please give Peace a chance. You will love it.
Give Peace a chance.
I guarantee. Watch this movie now.
I think most people that are going to watch it have probably already seen it.
I know.
What we need to know is this new edition worth it?
It is.
Not the band new edition. They're always worth it. But is this new version of this movie, is there anything special about this release? Other than
yes,
this
it has all
cover?
of the cool. It has all of the cool documentary and behind the scenes thing. It has interviews with the cast and the writer director lady. And it has that one thing I told you about the script, how they were having to learn how to
So
write
if you already own a copy of this, let's say on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because you had it on DVD.
I had it on
So this is an upgrade.
This is an upgrade.
But if you already have it on Blu-ray and there's bonus features, is this worth purchasing this version?
I personally think so. Also because it comes with the digital download, which I like to have everywhere. So I need to add this to my movie anywhere thing.
I don't know if it's part of that same thing.
Digital movie included. I can download it.
Digital, that doesn't make movies anywhere. We'll have to see.
It will work. I will make it work.
Some Paramounts do. Some Paramounts have something else.
There you go.
So we'll have to look.
We'll make it work. Anyways, I like it. I think just because I was able to get it now in the better format, and because of this bonus features, because the copy we had never had any of the behind the scenes.
What?
I don't think so.
It's sitting right there.
Oh, well, let's check that out. Oh my gosh, I have this movie. Oh, it does have some
tons of bonus features, and it even says "duh."
Oh my god, as if.
She says on the back, it says special features, and then in parentheses, "duh," as though it was just answering your question.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
so maybe it is the same.
Maybe it is the same, and they just updated.
I will give them credit for this crazy cover.
That's cute.
Because they put her in her horribly ugly outfit in the same color.
I always thought that was so cute.
It was an ugly outfit.
Oh, so cute. I would wear that.
I just don't like Alicia Silverstone, I don't think.
Why not?
I liked her in some early stuff. Like, I liked that movie. What was it? The Crush?
Yes.
Her?
Yes, that was one of her first. No, that was her.
No, I'm thinking of Fear. That's Reese Witherspoon.
That's Reese Witherspoon.
Okay, yeah, The Crush I enjoyed.
Who, by the way, we do not call Marky Mark because that's not his name anymore.
Oh, but I'm going to call him that anyway.
I call him that anyway.
He can't do anything about it.
He's never going to know. He will never.
I honestly don't know anything else she's done that I liked her in.
Wow. The Aerosmith videos. I was reaching for that. No. You just don't like her. I want to see that new show she's in.
She's a horrible Batgirl.
She tried, and that movie itself.
I mean, that movie had a lot of issues that weren't just her, but I don't think she was horribly miscast anyway.
Whatever.
Because she just didn't.
Check out Clueless, the 25th anniversary edition. It is awesome. You will love it.
All right, moving on.
Unless you're Bobby Blakey, then you won't love it.
I don't hate the movie. I just don't. It doesn't work for me. I don't find it funny. I find it annoying. Is what I find.
And then I asked you about it when you were talking about the movie Emma. Did that movie annoy you as well?
Emma did not annoy me as much.
Okay. Because it's based loosely on the
same but they're also not running around talking like morons.
They were talking like morons.
They are. Yeah, that's talking like a moron. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
That to me, that's like the equivalent of talking Ebonics.
Wow. Okay. So not even the same.
No, it's not the same. But what I'm saying is creating I don't really like any time when people create these weird, stupid languages like. You know how I am. I don't like the dab things. I don't like any of this. It's stupid. It serves no purpose. Like, they could have done this entire same movie and not made weird statements like that and still had a good movie out of it. You didn't have to have the dumb dialogue.
Yeah, it was fun.
Anyway, whatever. That's just my opinion. I know I'm going to get a bunch of hate messages about, you just don't like women. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's true. He does like women.
I like all the women. Except Alicia Silverstone.
And it's Alicia.
I know it is. And I'm not a Brittany Murphy fan either.
Oh, I love Brittany Murphy.
Was a fan of her.
I think I've seen everything Brittany Murphy. I think there's one or two movies I
liked her in 8 Mile.
But I love, she was. I love Brittany Murphy. She left us too soon.
Yes, that was sad. I agree with that.
She was a good actress.
She was a good actress. There was a couple things she did that I thought was good.
She did some off the wall things.
But there's Alicia Silverstone movie. I'm just thinking about it. I don't care. There's we'll call her Alicia Silverfox, or Silverfish.
Well, and you know what? She grew up and she looks just normal now. She
always looked pretty. I never thought she was overly attractive
either.
She has one of those things, and I don't mean this to bash her because I see why they made her famous or made her appealing because she had a unique look to her. Mm-hmm. But she had the weird mouth thing.
Yeah.
Which surprises me. It doesn't drive you crazy because you tend to latch on to that stuff and it irritates you. Like so many people.
I know, but I love this movie.
Okay.
Anyway, she does this one.
Anyway, moving on. So the next one we're going to do
sorry. We love you. I adore you.
That's fine. I don't dislike her. I'm just not a fan.
She's in Masters of the Universe.
What? Oh, that's a cartoon.
I know, but
I can deal with her as a voice. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. I don't need you to bring it to me. I'm just saying, I can't see.
I wanted to watch this.
Well, then watch it, stupid.
I'm going to. Okay, continue. Anyway, next movie.
Did I say something about titties? Okay. What? I don't have my glass on. It says Tribes, I think, but I thought it said the titties of Palace of Artists.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the next one we're going to go even further back for the classic comedies, and one that's 40 plus years old. I believe it's 45 years old. Wow. Might be 40th. But anyway, it's 40 something years old. And it's part of your favorite new collection, the Paramount Presents
Paramount
collection.
Presents, which I love because of the posters.
And this is the first time that a first Paramount Presents film that we both watched together.
Yes, because
we've been doing alternates.
Divvying them up.
Because Urban Cowboy's not part of that set.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, that was a separate Paramount release.
Well, and I think there were some, you were like, you watch this.
Like that King
Creole.
Crawfish or whatever it is.
King Creole.
Yeah, Elvis. That one I didn't care about.
I don't know why. He was really good in that.
I hate Elvis.
He was good in that movie.
I don't like Elvis as an actor.
Some of the others, he was just Elvis in the movie.
I don't like
this one, he was
I don't
really
like anything
acting.
about Elvis, period.
And I think if he'd really gotten a chance to do more, it would have been really
Elvis
good.
is the most overrated thing to ever happen.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
I'm just saying.
I know.
If he had came out today, nobody would care. He only was popular because he had stole black music and capitalizes it for himself.
Okay.
And because he was so gyrating and controversial on stage with his hips don't lie mentality,
he made it work.
No, I know. I'm saying that's why he became famous, not because he really offered much of it.
Random. I suddenly have a taste for Wingstop.
You always have a taste. You always have a taste. Anyway,
I'm trying to eat. I
don't like his music. I thought he was a horrible actor.
I do. I love it.
Any movie I've ever tried to watch that he was in, I was just like, this is just Elvis being Elvis. It's horrible.
I like GI Blues. I like this one. I like the one where he's in the race car.
He had tacky taste.
I like the one with him and Anne Margaret. I love everything.
His house looks awful.
The jungle room was kind of creepy.
His wardrobe was ridiculously dumb.
Well, but that was for stage.
No, he dressed like that off stage too.
Well, I know, but that would be equivalent to like a Gaga now.
One little respect I used to have for him was his martial arts obsession with Ed Parker and training in Kempo, and I always thought that was so cool. Until I realized he made his own gi to look like the Elvis wardrobe, and so he's walking around in a gi, and I'm like, no, he lost all. That was a one minuscule thing I liked about him. And he lost that too. So moving on. This thing doesn't have anything to do with Elvis.
But I thank you for taking me to Graceland and all those places.
Yes.
So thank you.
And we went to his birth home, which was my idea to take you.
Yes.
And you were like, I don't know if we have.
But the interesting thing about all these is you took me. Yeah, I drove us there.
You drive everywhere, stupid.
I know. I love to drive.
I'm the one that finds them, and I said you want to go.
You hate driving, and I love driving, so I'm glad.
And I go do things stupid that I don't want to do for you all the time.
I know.
I wish you would. I could say the same about you.
I do.
What have you done that you didn't want to do?
I went to class yesterday for 4 hours.
That's part of our job in our lives.
My body is so sore.
Let me tell you, we once a month. We normally, mind you, we haven't done this since February, so
that's
she can't
the problem.
Miss is supposed to be training with me every day. Comes home, we gotta train. I'm too sleepy. So she finally gets up and does something yesterday. And now she's tired. That's why she's tired. Had she been training like she's supposed to, she wouldn't be tired.
I'm a grandma.
Yeah, we're in the middle of Taekwondo class, and they're doing push-ups or splits.
No, we're doing splits.
Doing the splits. And I'm like, you doing okay over there? Because she was struggling with something, and she goes, just yells in the middle of class, I'm a grandma. Like, none of this has anything to do with anything. All right, anyway. So what we were talking about is 40-something years old.
All this 10 minutes has been the intro to the next movie.
That has nothing to do with anything we've talked about. Anyway, this is the 40th anniversary edition as another part of the Paramount Classics. This is movie number 7.
Woohoo! What year is this?
This was 1980. Wow. I believe you. Anyway, 1980, the movie Airplane with this lovely fold-up cover again. We got the nice little cover here.
I see the poster. I didn't see it.
You've never seen this?
Show me. I have not ever seen this.
It says, what's slower than a speeding bullet and able to hit tall buildings at a single bound?
It's funny.
Thank God it's only a motion picture.
There you go.
Anyway, so this is a true comedy classic. If you want to talk about comedies that stand the test of time, that are iconic, that have tons of stuff that have come out, whether it's visual or catchphrases or whatever, this movie is top of the chain.
This is the one.
Now, this is a movie I would have expected you to hate.
Really?
Yeah, this is because every time
it's dumb.
Every time I watch one of these dumb kind of comedies, you're like, I don't want to watch it. That's dumb. Yet this one, she's like, oh yes, I would love to watch that one. I like this movie.
I like this movie. I think because it doesn't take itself too seriously, and the people aren't trying to act funny; they're just being normal, and it's funny.
What's funny about you saying they don't take it seriously? What makes it so funny is all the actors that were not comedic actors delivering serious lines.
Yes.
Straight face made it funnier.
Yes, I think that's why it's funny. It's not people being dumb or doing.
Oh no, it is very much so.
No, I know, but it's not like some comedies are just so stupid because the people are being stupid. This one's not.
They're there. It's just specific.
I don't know.
I can't get that word out. Specific characters.
I like this movie.
Specific characters.
Specific. They're in the Pacific.
But I've always loved, even as a kid. Now I didn't know who these people were, but having Lloyd Bridges and Peter Graves and Robert Stack and Leslie Nielsen.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I was always like, they're very serious people.
Yeah.
But I didn't think much about how actors were cast and whatnot. And so as I grew up, like a lot of people, I only knew Leslie Nielsen from this, then in the Police Squad, Naked Gun, Dracula Dead and Loving It, Surf Ninjas, all these stupid comedies, and didn't realize for years that he was such a serious actor, as were these other guys. And so I think that's part of it. This movie was very important for two big reasons. One, their genius behind bringing in serious actors that people didn't see as comedians.
Yeah.
In a movie like this that nobody would have expected, but it birthed. No, let me start again. It gave new life to some of their careers, especially Leslie Nielsen, who.
Yes.
And I remember reading him talking about it. He got to that point in his career that he felt like he was fixing to start having to just play the grandfather characters to everything.
Yeah, nobody wants
and
to
in
do
this
that.
one, it turned him into this whole new genre of, he was like the go-to guy for stupid comedies.
Mm-hmm.
And now not all of them worked, but
yeah.
they were awesome. If you saw him, you knew you were going to get something stupid.
Yes.
And that's what kind of made it, you know, especially,
that's what was fun.
Especially the whole Police Squad and Naked Gun thing.
Yeah.
Because like I saw Naked Gun not knowing Police Squad was a series first.
Ah.
And then when Naked Gun didn't work because people weren't ready for that, then they revamped it to make the movies, and anyway. So,
what's your favorite thing in this? Because there's tons of them.
You know what? One of my favorite things about this movie, and I don't know why it always made me laugh so much. And it's not even really a funny joke. It's the whole running thing about people getting sick on the fish or chicken, and everybody's just like, oh, And once I knew when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, I think it's people with the fish. Everybody that ate the fish got sick. So anytime somebody started, you could see them, whatever. As a kid, I felt like I discovered something. I'm like, oh, he had the fish. He had the fish. And at one point, when Robert Hayes is having, because he has this drinking problem and he has his issues, which the drinking problem is good. I used to do that when I was a kid.
Oh, no.
I used to make my mom so mad. I'd go, Mom, I have a drinking problem, and I'd throw water in my face. And I think it made her mad because I don't think she understood what I was doing.
Oh, did she not?
I don't know if I'm sure she had, but I don't think she realized it was from that movie. Because I had two drinking things I did. I used to do the drinking problem, and I always did this other thing where I'd very seriously take a glass, and you tell somebody you fill it with water. And it's just like a normal open glass, not a can. And you'd be like, always drink from this side, never from this side. And they're like, why? And you're like, and then it pours all over you.
My gosh.
And it would piss my mom off because I'd always make a mess with water. So, but when he's having the moment, because he had his drinking problem, he also was having his flashbacks from the war.
Yes.
So when he's flying and he starts sweating, but it's like water being poured.
That's the one that gets me.
Made me roll all the time. That and feeling like I discovered who was sick from the fish, I think worked more for, don't get me wrong, there's tons of funny shit
There's tons. I think the one with the water fish, that's the one I remember immediately in this movie. And then the old lady putting on her makeup all over the place.
Oh, I also love the kid when the lady is trying to sing the tale to the sick kid.
Yes.
And it's not even her hitting it that makes it laugh. It's the kid going, crossing her eyes and sucking her face. I'm like, that kid's got talent.
I always like the one where they're like telling the lady, you need to calm down. They're like, I got it.
They're all hitting her with bats and shit.
And then
you like their talking jive part too.
I love jive. It's like,
I had a friend.
I speak jive.
I had one of my friends who could recite almost all those jive lines word for word, and he would come up and say, just talk jive to you, and then walk away.
That's
so if people around you didn't know what he was talking about, they'd be like, it was the weirdest thing.
That's so funny. And then, I mean, there's so many funny things. Of course, Shirley. Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just normal now.
What's I will say that the lady that's the stewardess love interest, she always drove me nuts. She's always annoyed me. I don't know, and I think it's by design because she was always very like this, and I was just seems like very timid in her voice, and I was just like, wake up, woman! It drove me nuts. I'd be like, why are you chasing this woman? Have you talked to her?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I liked it, and then I mean, there's just so many funny gags, and I think there's so many funny, like you said, moments that people now, you recite them and you don't even probably know what it's from. It's from this movie. So you need to watch it. And like this movie comes up in conversation sometimes just with friends.
It's rare for a comedy like this, and Clueless to be technical, that being that old and that many things still are in part of pop culture. Some of it are things like the new generation are learning about, but don't know it's from this movie.
Exactly.
They hear it from Family Guy, or they hear it in a song or a movie or a friend saying it. If somebody says, "Don't call me Shirley," a lot of them don't know that's what it's from.
Exactly.
But the fact that that stupid little line like that stood the test of time speaks volumes for the movie itself. And it's a movie that had no business working.
No, not at all. But they had to convince people it was going to work to get it done.
Well, and it's also a case of this kind of movie created, I don't think it was the first spoof of its kind, but it could be. I could be completely wrong. But it created a kind of subgenre of comedy that fails more than it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, like the Naked Gun movie is awesome. The second two were hit and miss.
2.5.
Get Smart was similar kind of stuff like this.
Get Smart, by the
way. You go into stuff like what is it? Top Secret with Val Kilmer was like this kind of movie. Then you jump years later and you get into like Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And then before that you had Hot Shots.
Yeah.
So some of them work really well. Then for every one of those, you have 15 of the ones that come straight to video, one of that don't work, that should or could.
Scary Movie Part 18 or whatever.
Yeah. They had one that was like a spoof of 300. They've had ones that were like superhero spoofs, and just they all kind of failed. But this one to me is kind of the mold to work from of how you make it work. And honestly, it's funny is I remember Airplane 2 in title alone. I don't even remember.
I don't think I've ever seen it, or maybe I haven't. I don't know.
I know Robert Hayes comes back, and I'm sure once I watch it, I'd remember it because I remember watching both of them a lot. But I only remember everything from this movie.
I don't remember it, so we'll have to go find it.
I'm hoping they get an Airplane 2 release so I can have them both.
Yeah. And I think I like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He's funny.
He's funny. And again, he's not someone you would think to be funny, but I think that's why it's funny.
Well, and the funny thing about him is I didn't know him from basketball. I knew him from Game of Death.
Oh.
From Bruce Lee.
I just knew him from basketball. I
didn't know. I don't even know if I knew his name. I knew his face and how big he was. And I remember seeing pictures, even if it was before that movie released. And I honestly don't know which I saw. I had to have seen the Game of Death stuff before I saw this. I don't remember which one came out first, because Game of Death was started in 1974, but I don't remember because it was when Bruce Lee died. So I don't remember when they finally finished it and released it. But I remember when he came on screen, I'm like, that's the tall guy Bruce Lee fought. And it wasn't until after that I realized that's a basketball player. I think my dad probably told me or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, this movie came out, I was 7?
Yeah. See, and I think I remember seeing it on TV. I had to, because there's no way I would have been anywhere near seeing this, but it was probably on TV.
Maybe.
So who knows if stuff got cut out.
And it's still crazy that these movies back then were like that. This movie is PG.
Yeah.
There's so many things. There's so many things in this movie that 1 wouldn't become PG, and 2 would not even be allowed in making most movies now.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
with the culture.
I don't think you'd be able to have a little girl saying, "I like my coffee black, like my man."
That is the best line of the whole movie.
I mean,
I totally forgot until that little girl came on the plane when the little boy in the suit's looking at her like, "Oh my God, I forgot about the little business kids."
Yeah.
And they only have that one line.
That one scene, yeah.
And that is the best. To me, that's the best line of the whole movie because it's a little girl and the look on that kid's face when she said that. And they're both in business suits and they're all official with no explanation.
They're like,
why.
There's no way you would get a little kid to do that now. I mean, I guess you could, but
well, they did something similar like that in what is that movie that Seth Rogen and they have the Bad Kids movie?
Oh yeah,
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This movie is iconic and awesome.
You need to watch it if you haven't. Come over. We got to do a screening because all our friends want to watch it because it got brought up because somebody said something, and I don't know how we got onto Jive. Oh. And I'm like, that's okay. I speak Jive.
And I'm sure there's only one in the entire group that hasn't seen it.
Yep. And she's like, what is Jive? And I was like, oh
Didn't
my
she
gosh.
Think she looked it up and found it was a dance?
She Googled it. And she's like, oh, it's a dance from the 50s. I'm like, that's not what we're talking about. So I sent the clip.
You went too far back.
And then I sent the clip and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Leave It to Beaver's mom. And then I'm like, oh no, now I'm going to have to explain Leave It to Beaver. I mean, that is such a cultural reference. If you're American growing up here, you know who Leave It to Beaver is. And I don't know why she was wearing pearls vacuuming. Like, who does that?
Well, that's what made that.
She was in pearls and high heels.
That's what I thought was also very clever about this movie. Is their whole purpose of the comedy was to make people that don't do this kind of behavior.
Yes.
So to have her in the film talking jive to two black guys was so out of character for what we knew her from. And who was it? Who was the singer later? I forgot.
Ethel Merman.
Ethel Merman. To have Ethel Merman in the movie for like 5 seconds to just get up and sing and then pass out in her bed at the hospital.
So fun. There's a lot of good people in this movie, man.
But and this release is kind of cool because not only does it have the movie, it was a 4K transfer from the original film negative, It has some of the original commentary and stuff, but it also has new interviews and a Q&A session thing with the writers and the director. And what's really more ironic of this whole thing is, which one was it? I believe it was David Zucker. We're big Impractical Jokers fans, and they have been doing this thing called Practical Jokers Dinner Party because of COVID. They basically are kind of Zoom talking, and it's great. They're just shooting the shit, and they're all having dinner together and they have guests, and he was one of the guests.
Yeah, he called in.
Funny. So ironically, we saw that, and then this movie showed up.
So you're like, hey, that's the guy from Dinner Party. I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand. It all connected back for me.
It's funny how that works, because the same thing happened when with Red Dawn, is because you had never seen it. And so we had sat and watched it, and then we saw something where they screamed Wolverines. You're like, I get that reference.
I get it now. Well, see, and I think that's why it's important sometimes to go back and watch it. So there's like a lot of movies I missed, and so you're finally filling me in. And then when you find something new I haven't seen, like you're like, what? So like something as simple as The Godfather and the horse, because that shows up in like The Simpsons or something.
Everything at some point. Yeah.
Or Peter Griffin or whatever. So I'm finally getting caught up. Please be patient, okay? If you've never read the bio on Hollywood Matrimony, I did not grow up watching movies. I barely watched TV. We were allowed to watch Saturday morning cartoons, and then Sunday we watched Wonderful World of Disney. I know. And Mutual of Oklahoma. I loved it, all the animal shows. And then later on, my dad, we would watch Bonanza. He did like Equalizer.
You watched Gunsmoke with your grandma?
Gunsmoke with my grandma. As the World Turns. Days of Our Lives.
You had a horrible TV life.
Lots of novelas with my grandmother as
I got older. Horrible TV life.
And then when I was a teenager.
How old was it when you finally went to a movie theater?
How old when we got married?
No, you had been to a movie theater before me. Yeah, you had. You had gone to movie theaters before me and you met. I knew you didn't on a regular basis, but you had. I'm pretty sure you even told me that you had gone, but it was a whole thing of don't let my parents know. Mind you, this woman was in her 30s or late 20s. Don't tell my parents.
Yeah, well, still don't tell my parents many things. Please, thank you. No, weird. I remember one time in daycare or summer camp or whatever, we went to go see Aladdin in the theater, but not the Aladdin Disneyland, like the old 70s version Aladdin. And that was a big controversy in my family about just letting me go.
Why were you allowed to go to WWF events? Live events and concerts, but you couldn't go to a movie theater?
Because my brother was with me.
So, but what's that have to do? It's way worse.
Hold on now.
Theaters.
Mexicans love wrestling.
Okay.
And it was me and my brother, so it was okay.
But what about concerts?
That I think at that point I had my own money, so I bought it, and as long as my mom knew my brother or somebody she knew was going to be there, it was okay. I don't know, man.
That don't make no damn sense.
I know, but whatever. So I'm just now getting caught up on movie history, so please be patient. But this is one I saw somehow on the TV.
I don't know how your parents would let you watch this movie.
Well, it was on TV, so I'm sure something. Well, and if it's rated what?
It's PG, but it's 80s PG, which is probably R now.
Who knows?
Lone Wolf McQuaid is rated PG as well. That movie's rated R at least.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Chuck Norris.
Now, when new movies come out, do they redo the ratings or do they leave it?
They keep the same rating.
Then how come they're trying to cut stuff out of all my Disney stuff?
That is a Disney thing. That's supposedly a branding thing because, like, what some of the issue is because the Disney Plus streaming service has no parental control. There's no specification on it to say.
Expect there to be.
Well, there's nothing on there to say.
Hey,
here's the adult films. Here's the other thing.
But they've started adding like Dumbo or whatever. They're adding like the
some of those movies they edited down because they took out, and a lot of that is I agree that it shouldn't be changed, but it's because
there needs to be a warning or a.
Well, that's what they did with a lot of stuff. They put warnings on some things, but then when they put it on the streaming service, which I kind of understand, even though I don't agree with it, because that's something that anybody can access.
That's true.
Like if you have a kid and you tell your kid, this is how you get on Netflix and Disney Plus and this and that, there's no password setups on it that I'm aware of. So there's no parental controls.
Well, Netflix, you have a kid.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's nothing on it, to my knowledge, to set up a parental control.
Maybe, yeah.
And so that means they could click and watch anything they want. And even though there's nothing on those things that are horribly bad. It's the parent groups and the censorships and things like that are the issue now, because you have Disney the brand, and you have the thing that people think the Disney brand is.
Yeah.
And so if you have, like, it was such a big deal when Days of Future Past, I think it was, finally hit Disney Plus, and they changed nothing. So there's an F-bomb in it.
Yeah.
There's Hugh Jackman's buttocks.
Well, who doesn't want that, lady?
And everybody honestly...
and men, anybody.
Everybody honestly expected that to be edited down, because they've been... But then you go back to stuff like Dumbo or...
Pinocchio drinking and smoking.
Pinocchio, I'm assuming Peter Pan smoking. I'm assuming all that stuff is probably... I haven't checked, so I don't know
we'll
if it
is.
is.
We'll have to go check it out.
But then you also have stuff like Song of the South that will never be seen.
But is it important that it be seen so people understand?
There's two sides of that. I agree.
I don't even remember.
I've seen it one time, and I don't even remember where. Long. But it's one of those things that I personally think it should exist and be seen, so you can see the culture of the time. But at the same time, I understand the insensitive nature.
So they didn't release it, obviously, right?
No, they released it, but it's not been released since. It got pulled, and it's never been seen again.
So if you bought it, you got it. If you don't,
I don't think it's ever been released on home entertainment at all. It was way before that. But I don't think it's ever been. Everybody was hoping it was going to show up on Disney Plus, because it's not like rated R kind of thing. It's just kind of racist. But it's because of the time period.
But I mean, overall, I think there's a lesson to be learned by the characters, irregardless of that. But I know that's a good thing.
But I also don't believe in censorship.
Yeah.
So I think that there's that thin line of controlling things your kids see that aren't really meant for kids. This was meant for kids, and it was done at a time where it's kind of like you look at a lot of the 80s movies. Like if there's a movie called Hard Bodies, it's a comedy. It's the most chauvinistic movie I've seen in it forever. And when I was watching the review, I'm like, there's no way this movie would make it now.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole thing of guys pulling women's tops down and slapping them on the butt and then saying, hey, baby, so that the whole sexism thing. And I kind of cringed watching it. While I found the humor in it because I understood the time period, but you take somebody that didn't come up in that time period or just watches what they're watching right now, like a lot of people do, then they can't separate it.
Yeah.
You know, if you go watch certain TV shows or movies, you kind of have to understand, okay, this is the 60s or this is the 70s, so this is how things were.
Yeah.
So I can either watch it and accept it for what it is, or I can move on to something else. But then you have somebody that's never watched that. If they go back and watch it, you know, what were we watching? It wasn't old. Oh, it was that Greyhound movie. And we were discussing, not that it was something old, but the fact that the black guy was the cook on the ship.
On the ship. And
it's not because it's racist, because that's the time period.
What it was.
And even though that was kind of racist in the time period, that's not making it racist in the movie.
No, I mean, it was a realistic depiction, especially since they were telling a movie based on what happened.
Yeah. It's just like movies like Django Unchained, Tarantino movie that came out, and people flipped out about, Spike Lee especially, about how many times the N-word was used in Django. But I'm like, okay, it's a movie about a slave in a Western. What do you think they were saying then?
Yeah.
They weren't like, saying, hey, sir, look at this fine fella.
Exactly.
You know? But
it's
anyway.
Right. But then if you take the flip side of it, and Disney, that people think that they're evil cult and Illuminati, the Disney 666 thing.
And that only happened when they started
So that's the whole other side of Disney.
Yeah, here's the thing, is people only really started turning on Disney when they became powerful. And when they started buying brands.
Have you seen
But here's what's funny.
Disney 666?
Yeah, I've seen it. People are stupid. So
I believe it.
You believe in every stupid thing.
There's a cult going on.
But here's what's funny about this is everybody, like Star Wars fans, are all like, oh my God, Disney's ruined Star Wars and this and this and this. Oh, well, except for Bring a Clone Wars, except for The Mandalorian, except for possibly Obi-Wan. But then they don't blame them for Marvel. How many times do you hear them say something bad about Disney Marvel? Until Captain Marvel came out. Because it was a female superhero. Or Black Panther, because it was a black man.
See, that's the thing.
That's what people didn't want. They don't want
minorities and women, which has always been the issue of this country. By the way, it has not changed since the beginning of time, and it probably won't. Just getting that out there.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
What, the Walt Disney 666? And
it's called cursive.
Well, he was a Mason and an Illuminati, and supposedly there's symbolisms all about the park. And
I have no doubt that. I have no doubt that he was kind of a jerk from everything I've
He
heard.
was a satanic
Nobody
worshiper.
could have become that powerful and not be kind of a douche.
Yeah, douche.
But anyway, let's move on.
Anyway,
We've
sorry.
had a whole sidetrack for Airplane, the comedy.
Sorry.
This will be available. Paramount Presents Airplane is available now, as well as a special limited edition steelbook version of this as well.
This just shows we know more than just movies. Sometimes.
We're all over the place.
We're all over, but
all right. Which
these are the
about?
Discussions that we have. I think let's go here.
War movie.
War.
You know this one first?
Yes.
All right.
This movie got me.
This next one is the next two we're going to do are documentaries, but this next one is kind of a hidden story.
Yeah.
Because you kind of think you're getting one story, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
It's a movie called Hands of God that is executive produced by, what is it? Alfonso Cuarón, which I believe didn't he do that movie on Netflix that was nominated for everything?
Yes.
I think, or was he Children of Men, whatever?
What is it, Alonso or Alfonso? Alfonso.
Like, I always forget.
Alfonso. God.
He's up at the top.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No. QCU.
Oh, I don't have glasses on.
Oopsie.
Stop, woman. Hold on. There he is.
Gravity.
That's what it was. It was Gravity. But then I think he did that one we never watched because you didn't want to watch it.
Roma.
Yeah. You didn't want to watch
Children of Men.
Yeah. So anyway.
I thought Roma was just going to be really hard to watch.
So anyway, he produced this movie.
Oh, y tu mamá también.
Yes. Oh, good Lord. So why don't you tell everybody what this movie's about?
All right. So this is a documentary following the Iraqi boxing group that are trying to make it into the Olympic qualifiers.
2016 Olympics?
Yes. So it starts in 2014 and it's following them and just following them. And this is a crazy story because these guys, they're just trying to do boxing. They're trying to be the best they can be. They're trying to win competitions. They're trying to get into the Olympics. But the background of this is their real life is ISIS bombing their hometowns all the time. So the two stories are running simultaneously.
It's a sports story wrapped in a war country.
Or is it a war story wrapped in a sports story?
Yeah, I mean, and all really about the journey of these people of their everyday lives to survive and finding a way out. Yeah. That's kind of what it is.
It's
and the thing I found most intriguing about this movie, and I kind of wrote a version of it in my review, is it's an eye-opening tale, if you will, because Americans especially have tacked on the country of Iraq and the religion of Islam. I know. I mean, of being a Muslim is what I meant to say. Mm-hmm. They made those two things as terrorists. That means you're evil. That means you're bad.
Yes.
And it's quite the opposite.
These poor people.
They're showing these people in this movie. They're like, we're fighting against ISIS as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're fighting against these same people. They believe in God. They think God is going to protect them. They're not saying death to the infidels all the time. It's not the whole country.
No.
It's sex. Not sex.
Wow. Okay, wow.
But it shows that the perceptions that we have are horribly inaccurate, because you can look at, if you took the religious beliefs of every person that commits some kind of a horrible act, you're going to find more Christians than anything else, especially in this country. And you go back to the Crusades, which was all Christianity-based war. And for whatever reason, people have decided, yes, there is aspects of Islam that is
violent,
and it's what's it called? What's the religion thing when people are the crazed?
Oh, the religious jihad people.
No, but just crazy religion people in general. Extremists.
There's extremists.
But there's Christians in that. There's Jewish people like that. There's a Jewish mafia, for crying out loud. But it's nobody wants to separate that. So instead of saying, hey, before they started calling them ISIS all the time, it was always, there was a Muslim bombing. There was a terrorist bombing that were Muslims. Muslims are trying to destroy us. That's not what it is. And yes, it's the Muslim thing, kind of the catalyst.
Yeah.
But it should be more about what these people are doing in the country, because these people are fighting the same fight we're fighting in a different way, worse than we're ever fighting it.
And I think that's the side of the story that really surprised me, and I was getting all emotional because these poor people are suffering the effects of the war. Just like we're seeing it from far away, and like you said, we're thinking, oh, all those people are bad.
Yeah.
They're not. These people are suffering the same thing. They're the ones fighting to get these people out of their country. They don't want them there.
Yeah, and they're talking about, like,
I mean, we don't want terrorists either.
Like,
they
one of
don't
the fighters,
want them there.
Well, a couple of fighters were still in the military, and one of them couldn't go to one of the things because he had to go to the front line to fight, because they had to make their decisions of, not because they were forced to, but they make the decision of fighting for the love of their country.
Mm-hmm. To get ISIS out of their country,
or do they want to do this boxing thing? And sometimes that love of their country meant more to them. But when they say go to war, it's not like when we talk about going to war and we leave and you're gone for years and years. They're driving like 35 miles away.
It's like in their hometowns. I mean, that's how close ISIS is. And then you just see, like, these guys are trying to work out at their gym, and suddenly there's like a suicide bomber. And everybody stops what they're doing, and everyone's going to help.
They're cleaning up blood and sweeping the streets.
They're picking up. I mean, this is like so sad, and I can't imagine like the trauma. There has to be PTSD.
Well, they talk about it like every time they leave their house, you don't know if you're coming back.
And no one should have to live that way.
No,
I mean,
that's
and
we have elements of that here with some of the Black Lives Matter stuff and general things in life. You don't know if you're going to be in a car accident. You know if someone's going to happen to you. But it isn't as real as it is with them.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's just going to pull up and blow up your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, I don't walk out of my house and never once do I think about, you know what, I might get blown up today.
Yeah.
It could happen, of course.
And there's a couple, and there's crazy. One of the guys is like, oh, I've taught, there's guys that come up to you and they try to recruit you.
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, you're going to get all these riches. He's like, that's not at all what the Quran says. He goes, these people are crazy.
Yeah.
But he realizes it. But there's people who are easily persuaded, and he's like, that's the reality of their everyday life.
Yeah, and it's because most people that are afraid because they have nothing else.
They have nothing else.
And they're persuaded into doing other things.
Especially when you see how these poor people are living. I mean, when there's going to be like an air raid or a bomb or whatever, they shut the power down to the whole city and leave them in the dark because they don't,
There's one scene that's kind of funny and sad all at the same time where there's one boy and his parents are watching this TV show.
They're watching their novellas.
Yeah, and all of a sudden just the power shuts off and they're like,
well,
they're not shocked at all. They're just like, oh, how many times today have they shut it off? And she's like, this was like the third or fourth time today.
Yeah, she goes, but they'll replay the episode.
Yeah, then it becomes a discussion of when are we going to get to see the show?
Yeah.
Not, holy crap, our power's off. Let's hide. Let's get cover. Well, they usually replay it.
Yeah, I mean that's the sadness of their lives. And then there's another scene where the guy, he's at a qualifier, and I guess something happened that you don't really see what happened. But remember, he comes back and he's like, I don't know why everyone thinks that we're from Iraq, so we're bad.
Oh, that was because that was the guy that he got hit and knocked down,
mm-hmm.
and then when he stood up, remember they stopped the fight because he took it as being basically a knockout.
Yeah.
And they didn't let him keep going,
Yeah.
and that's why he was like, they always hold us back.
Yeah.
Immediately, they're against us from right out the gate.
Like what you started. I mean, our general assumption is like, oh, you're from the Middle East. Oh, you're Muslim. Oh, you must be a terrorist. And that's the thing they're fighting first. So that's the first barrier.
And let me say though, there's nothing in the movie of the Olympic qualifiers or anything else that looks like they're cheating. There's nothing showing like anybody's really doing something wrong. So sometimes they may not have done anything bad, but the perception now, because that's how they're treated all the time, is
he says he felt ignored by the world.
Yeah,
which that's sad, but that's true. A lot of those countries, we do. I mean, it's a general assumption as Americans that they're all bad. Let them stay over there and kill themselves, and that is so mean. So we get through all these guys' lives. Some of them don't make it. Just some of them die in the war. I mean, some people make it. Some people get disqualified. And man, this is crazy. You make it through all the fights, and you finally get to the guy that makes it.
Yeah.
And it
just kind of ends, but then I realized I was upset at the way it ended because it didn't really feel like it gave us a finish. But then I realized the brilliance of that is it makes you go look it up.
Yeah, it does.
And it makes you go look to see what happened after the fact.
It was the 2016
Your payoff
Olympics.
Is you going to look and further extending this story beyond watching the film.
I mean, because the guy that made it
don't tell anybody.
Well, you'll see. He makes it to the Rio Olympics, and And then when you take into mind, like it goes through the story of when the last time someone
like
made
the
it.
80s, 84 or something.
And they interviewed that guy. I mean, it's an amazing story. And then that led me to the other story of like, hey, remember there's that one lady in Africa who would run barefoot. And she ran
Mexico.
Well, that was one. And then the lady in Mexico who ran a marathon and she was running in sandals. But I mean, so there's so many amazing stories, and then it makes me all like,
You know what's funny about that? That I continue to keep learning.
It's like people. It's just about people. It's not about where they're from.
Where we're at in our country right now, between the divide in politics, the divide in the racism issues, and the divide on this whole, which you would never think there's going to be a divide of this pandemic, but people have politicized, and the media obviously has hyped everything up too. Mm-hmm. But the sheer selfishness that has come out of this country, it's always baffling when it reminds me of, we hear from these other countries, countries we've been to like Thailand and places like that, and then seeing things like this, how much every other place loves their country.
Oh my gosh.
So much more than we love ours. And when I say that, I'm not saying people don't love America. They love it where they're willing to give themselves to their country. Where here, we love America, living in America, as long as it's what we want.
Yeah, I mean...
people fight for, like, I'm fighting for the rights of America. I believe in the flag, and I do this, and that's fine. We have these soldiers that have fought and died for it. Those are the people I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the fat hillbilly guy who's swinging his flag, saying, America, you don't love it or leave it, and all this kind of stuff, and then just goes back home and does nothing.
Yeah.
And if that person was the one called and saying, look, we got to fight for our country, they'd be the first one not there.
Well, and I'll tell you who really loves America are the immigrants that have come here, took the time to learn everything about the Constitution and the history, and they can get up and recite it. Like my dad can tell you everything about the Constitution, all the presidents. I don't even know any of that. And I'm from here.
It's time for you to
go. That's so sad. But those are the people that really love this country because they gave it so much to be here. And then people are like, go back to where you came from.
Well, that falls back into
my bad
all of these things that have happened. The pandemic stuff is horrible. The death toll is horrible, but I think the worst thing that has come out of the last 40 years of this presidency, and probably even started during the Obama presidency, the racial tensions that have built up in the last few years, not just now,
that's always been
and the pandemic stuff has just showed how horribly selfish and hateful people in this country are as a whole.
It's always been this way, though.
And I know, but it's always been a little hidden because we have things like 9/11. We all come together. Like people, I remember, when 9/11 happened and people were coming out of the soot from the smoke and the dirt, and people were talking about all these stories like, this image is the perfect thing, is we're all the same on the inside because we're all the same color, standing side by side. We're all side by side when it fits the narrative of what those people want.
Yeah, but
as soon as, and it's ironic that we have the Black Lives Matter and the pandemic thing happening at the same time. And when they say, hey, we don't really know how this pandemic's going to work, you're getting false information on both sides. You're getting real information on both sides. Nobody really knows what's up. We think wear a mask. It might be helping everybody.
Yeah.
What does somebody do? They got to fight about that. But they also want to scream all lives matter. Mm-hmm. But all lives don't matter enough to wear a mask in hopes to save all of them.
Right. I don't know.
So your narrative can't work both ways.
Well, it does. It works for whatever's convenient for them at the time. And
no.
Just so everyone knows, it's always been this way.
I know, it has been, and it's not going to change.
Since my mom was little, even in my grandmother, my grandmother was a migrant worker, and she was out there picking cotton with.
My grandmother did that too. I mean, she wasn't a migrant worker, obviously. She was a white lady, but she grew up picking cotton.
Yeah, my grandma did. They traveled all over this country picking your food, but who knows?
But all those people that are doing those jobs, once we get through all this on the other side, right now it's going to be like all the immigrants are still in the jobs that we need because we.
Oh, go ahead, go pick some.
But those same people would not at all get out there and do any of that stuff.
There's no way.
They're not going to be the people serving your food and doing the hard labors outside. It's all these wacky white people that are the first ones to say, "Oh, I don't trust that person. They're going to steal my car. They're going to this." But then they're also going to be saying, "Well, don't you have some Mexicans you can bring over to work on my house?"
Nope.
That's the mentality, is they think, okay, you're the worker, so can't you come do the work? And where the other people, what the hell is that? Somebody else's video. Yeah. But it's that ridiculous narrative of whatever works for what you want at that time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the mentality
What's convenient for you.
We're in a free country.
It's like a spoiled kid.
Well, we're in a free country as long as you agree with me.
Mm-mm.
That's what
well,
it is.
And I think that's one of the things I was talking about, like, today at lunch with my parents. So I've explained to some of y'all, my dad's from Guatemala, so I've been going there since I was little. And they've always had a very strong police presence, and their police there look like military. Yeah. They're in military camo, and they've got machine guns, and they walk all over the city. There's always one at the bank and one at every big store. And in some of the smaller stores, they limit how many people can come in at a time. It's always been this way.
Yeah.
And so you just get used to it. And so now my mom was like, you know what? Maybe they've been doing it right this whole time. I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know what? It's funny
because people here take their freedom to the extreme. Well, I have the right to do whatever I want. I'm like, no, you don't.
Well, you really don't. You have multiple things. Like I have a good friend that lives in Singapore, and we talk all the time. And I was asking how things were going over here. He goes, it's actually going really good over here.
They're very orderly.
He goes, we were told we wear masks, so everybody's wearing their mask, and you're required to wear masks in the car with each other, or you can get a ticket. And he goes, but everything's calming down. We're kind of getting back to normal. Everything's fine. There's no arguing of, oh my God, this and that. And then somebody posted a thing about it that was saying, this other country's like, hey, how did y'all control the COVID? Because they didn't have a high rank of it. It says, we listen to our scientists.
Yeah. Well, see, and then like in Guatemala, they're on curfew. Like they have curfew at 6 p.m. every night. And you can go out to work if you're an essential worker and you can prove your company needs you to go. There's no school. There's no bus services, which I can't even imagine how they're getting around. Yeah. Because, buses are like cramped.
Well, you also look at places like Canada who...
They do curfew. And they go, and they know if they don't, they're going to get put in jail. And they said, my uncle said somebody down the street was having a birthday party. The police came and put everybody in jail. I mean, there was no questions.
Well, and here's the thing is we live in a country that is too free now.
Yep.
Because we pride ourselves on being a free country, and it's awesome, and I love it. Don't get me wrong.
People are going to be like, y'all are socialists.
but we're so free that you think you don't have to follow law. That's what we've got to the
problem.
point.
I'm telling you, it's going to be
I don't necessarily agree with every law.
We are going to turn into the purge.
There's that lady, there was a whole big news story about when all the stuff started shutting down, the lady in her hair salon, and she was fighting for the hair salon or whatever. And people were like, I can't believe they would shut her down. I can't believe they arrested her. But I'm like, I don't necessarily agree that maybe her business was shut down. But when there's a law that says, hey, it's required to shut down, you not following that means you've now broke the law, whether it's a good law or not.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with every speed limit or not either. Mm-mm. But if the speed limit is the speed limit and you break it, you've broken the law.
Yeah.
That's the facts. Yes, then you go fight and say, look, I think this was wrong. I shouldn't have been put in here. But not become a martyr of I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to run my business. You're a hairstylist, first of all. I'm sorry. Trust me, I need a haircut, and I have friends that are hairstylists. I totally sympathize that people need to run their businesses. People need to work. I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying I agree with every single thing being closed down either, but law is law.
It is what it is.
Follow
the rules.
If you don't like the law, go run for office.
Yeah,
go do a petition. Go march the thing and do a peaceful protest. But the peaceful protests don't always need to be armed combat looking people showing up. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with these looters. I don't agree with the violence of the protest. Yeah. But something has to be done somewhere.
Yeah. Their voice must be heard.
This movie is very eye-opening from a standpoint of...
It's actually very heartbreaking to me.
From a standpoint of, for all the crap going on in our country, all the people fighting, all the people arguing, all the people saying, woe is me, it is nothing compared to what these people
poor people struggle every day just to survive.
Yeah. And this was years ago. This wasn't even recent.
Yeah,
this is 5-6 years ago.
It's so sad.
So anyway, moving on. We got deep on that one.
Sorry.
So anyway,
check out Hands
of God. It's available now.
You can stream it. Actually, it's available to stream on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's like one of those pay to buy. But you can watch it on YouTube.
Well, check it out. It's a great movie.
Please check it out.
If you know me and you want to watch it, I'll let you borrow it.
There you go.
And speaking of know me,
hey,
see what I did there? The next one is a documentary. It's totally left field, opposite of this last discussion. So it's not near as heavy.
Doing the thing.
So
you got to do the thing too.
You have to do this. I don't remember what 1990.
Oh Lord, I don't know.
Anyway, I don't remember what year it is.
I loved it.
Anyway, there was a movie that came out. It's considered this massive 95. This massive flop. Paul Verhoeven's famed, now cult classic, Showgirls.
Yes.
Okay. We are not talking about Showgirls, the movie, but we're going to talk about the new documentary called You Don't Know Me.
There you go. And
it's all about kind of the cultural impacts, the making of the film, things like this. And it's a play on words because the character's name is Nomi in the movie Showgirls, and you don't know me. If you didn't get that, then you should get slapped in the side.
All right.
So let's do this first.
In case you've never seen Showgirls.
Well, it's kind of irrelevant if you haven't seen Showgirls, but it is and isn't. So Showgirls is essentially a movie about showgirls.
In Las Vegas.
Look, yeah, naive girl comes looking for her way, becomes kind of a stripper, builds her way up to showgirls, then it becomes a showgirl, then becomes this whole fight ender thing of Black Swan-like mentality of I want to be the lead, take him out, and there's a lot of sex and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's a kind of movie that would normally be on Showtime or Cinemax in the middle of the night.
There you go.
But way more artsy.
Yes.
So we both have had discussion about this. This was a movie that when it came out was loathed by critics. It did not do well at the box office, I don't believe. It was bashed pretty bad. Most people talk about how much they think it sucks. What do you think of the actual movie Showgirls, not this one?
I actually like the movie Showgirls. I realize it's a little bit over the top dramatically, but essentially it's just the story. I mean, it's a normal story of this girl trying to get to the top and then realizing what she's had to like strip away of herself to get there, and then the realization of that. And then he has to decide, do I continue down this bad path or do I do something different? So to me, that's what it is. It's just the story of this girl trying to make it, and then that whole realization that this is who I've become.
So I like the movie as well, but we like it for two completely different
reasons. I think you're looking at boobs.
I did, because I was a fan when this movie came out of Saved by the Bell, like a lot of people of our generation, and Elizabeth Berkley, who was the stuffy, was it Jessie?
Jessie.
Stuffy feminist,
yes,
bookworm character in Saved by the Bell. And when I found out she was in this movie, like any normal man, I was intrigued. I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna be naked.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
she was.
And it's 95, so I was just a few years out of high school. So I was like,
and this movie is NC-17, so there's a lot.
Yeah. And it had Gina Gershon in it, which I was hot for.
Lots of boobs.
Glenn Plummer.
Lots of boobs.
Glenn Plummer's in it, who I loved. He was in South Central. I'd become a fan of his. So I was like, I need to see this movie. And I watched this movie repeatedly, but a lot of times it was just into certain scenes. As a whole, I always thought the movie is fine, but this acting is crap in this movie. And the dialogue was crap.
It's a little dramatic and over the top, but it's like on purpose.
Well, and I didn't get that at the time. I was just like, this movie's stupid, but it's got great sex and nudity and the most ridiculous pool sex scene ever.
Yes.
So, but I never understood what is happening in this film. But at the time, I never connected it like they talked about when you actually see.
No, I got that.
So here's what's awesome about this documentary.
Yeah. It's actually pretty deep.
It is. It breaks down the movie and the making of it and how it came about, and Paul Verhoeven and stuff. And if you don't know who Paul Verhoeven is, first of all, what's wrong with you? But he directed RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct.
Yes.
And numerous other things. And there was always some kind of a controversy in his movies, whether it was the extreme violence, the sex, the social commentary, which is always there in his films as well of some sort. He's probably kind of a perv. He's what, Swedish?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a little bit weird.
So what's cool about this movie that I found intriguing is when they first sent me the thing, do you want to watch it? I'm like, I have no interest. This doesn't look like anything I want to watch. And now I'm like, why does that cover look familiar? And so I looked up, realized about Showgirls. I said, yes, I need to see this instantly.
For sure.
But it's interesting because not only are they talking about the making of the film and getting into it, but there's this person, and I don't know which person. I don't know if he's a film critic or like one of those historian kind of film historian type guys who narrates a section of the documentary, who is breaking down the entire film from a filmmaker standpoint of the nuances of the things that are in the background.
Yes, which is actually really interesting.
Yeah, there's
a lot more to the movie Showgirls than just
the inspirations for certain scenes and the way the lighting meant something in that scene. And the way this person did this, and then the connection of this weird pool sex scene, but it connects to the striptease at the beginning of the movie. And there's so many things that made me appreciate that other movie way more in a different way.
Now we gotta go watch Showgirls again.
Yeah.
No,
you're not gonna say anything else?
What?
Okay.
No, that's what I said. We have to go.
I know, but I thought you were going to continue with your discussion about something.
No, it was actually really.
That was a very abrupt stop from both of us. Like,
It was actually really interesting because I was like, okay, now I can see the symbolism. I can see like the bigger picture of the story, and that's why I'm telling you, it really is about her descent as she rises this to stardom, but her descent of her own being and her soul.
But see, I always got that aspect of the story. What I didn't get was, and at the time, I think I might have got it now if I'd rewatched it prior to seeing this anyway, because I have a different look.
I watched it not too long ago.
Well, I have a different look on film than I used to because of doing reviews.
And you're not just looking at boobs.
Yeah, now. I am. But
I mean,
and doing some films and working and fighting and stuff like this, I see production things differently and how things are shot. So there's like interesting elements that, like, there's one sequence where the first time that Gina Gershon and Elizabeth Berkley are having a discussion, and then how it shows them later in the movie, and they've changed positions on the table because it's all about they've changed status of their thing. One of them is now more powerful than the other, or works vice versa. There's stuff about things we probably neither one of us would have ever noticed. Was like a statue of this demon in the background that was kind of meant to be like symbolism of this demon on your shoulder of fame, and there was even a thing that, like, Elizabeth Berkley, her career was kind of killed almost because of that movie, because people were talking about how bad of an actress she was. But Paul Verhoeven was like, it's really my fault because I wanted her to overact, because part of it was the vision he had for the story, but it was also the idea of the stage. Where in the stage, everybody overacts to ridiculous nature, which is why I think I don't like a lot of stage productions. Yeah. Especially musicals, but even more so the ones where you had the people that are all like this. Like, I hate that crap, because to me it feels like you're forcing it in my face.
It's too much.
And not performing. And
sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, and he was kind of doing that with this, and it didn't always fit the narrative to what they were trying to do in the regular world. Yeah. But I still found it intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good movie. I don't know. I've always liked it, but
we're talking about this movie now.
Now, back to this. This is actually really interesting because you get that perspective, but you get the perspective of the directors, and then you get to the new thing of all the cult followings, and there's like a stage show musical, and there's like midnight showings. I mean, it's crazy the amount of like...
It's taken the Rocky Horror turn.
Yeah, for sure. And there was one where she showed up to this special celebration to introduce the film. I'm like, whoa, it's big.
Well, it's interesting, too, on how all of the people involved, for the most part, had kind of shunned this film. Especially what's-his-face from Twin Peaks. What's his name? Oh, I always forget his name. He's the guy that she's having sex with in the pool. Kyle MacLachlan or Laughlin.
Laughlin.
Yeah, okay.
Laughlin.
Kyle MacLachlan. And I was reading a thing about how he said, I remember seeing at the screening or whatever, and he's like, this movie is trash. I can't believe this. I'm embarrassed. But then years later, he discussed it and realized with the cult following, he's like, I kind of get it. He goes, I still don't think it's a good movie, but it's funny, and I get how it comes across, and I get how people have attached to it.
You can take it serious.
And he had a newfound respect for the film, for what it is now, not so much what it is then. He goes, I didn't see what that was then. Yeah. And he's like, whether it was meant to be this or not, this is what it became.
This is what it became.
And it's funny, there's a lot of little news interviews and clippings in this movie that show old Elizabeth Berkley interviews and Verhoeven interviews and stuff. And it shows them separated from when it came out into years later when they kind of accepted it, and how some of their dialogue changed to, oh, this was such a deep piece to me. I really love this character and this and this. And then jumps in and is like, yeah, it was just such a funny movie, and it was kind of silly to do. And it's like they understood what it became, so they had to change and see it for what it is now, as opposed to what they thought they were making.
Nah, it's fine. But you should really watch this documentary. It's very enlightening, actually.
It is.
And
I almost wish they would take every movie and have this guy, whoever it was, do that, break it down.
Do a deep breakdown.
Because it almost shows how brilliant, as a film itself, Showgirls is. Ignore the actual plot, the acting, that kind of thing. But the amount of genius that was put into the subtext and the backgrounds and the tones and the colors, all this stuff told a whole other story that I guarantee 90% of people missed.
Yeah,
myself included at the time. I I didn't get that. Hey, they're on this stage and it's red because of this moment in the story.
Mm-hmm.
You just look at it. That's the lighting of the stage.
No, and that's all very purposeful.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing. And the other thing, though, too, you got to go back and just acknowledge all these people worked hard in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to learn all the dances and how to dance in the costumes. And that's not an easy thing to do. So whether or not you enjoy the movie, I think it's always important to applaud the actors for their work, and especially the cast and crew had to deal. I mean, there's people that worked on this.
Now, there is nothing that will ever forgive Elizabeth Berkley for the switchblade scene at the beginning of the movie, but she's like,
yeah, I know that.
But it's hilarious.
A little bit.
I love it.
I mean, you know what? It's okay.
This is, even if you're not a fan of Showgirls, this is actually a very intriguing documentary. Like I said, about anytime, if you've ever been a person that's a fan, and we all have a movie that's kind of a cult status
that's
movie that we're kind of a fan of that we don't tell people about, guilty pleasure films, that kind of thing. This is a very cool documentary that explains a journey of a film that did that.
Yeah.
And also deeper into that film, whether you buy into it or not, it's intriguing to hear some people's views of what they saw and what it was. And
somebody's like, this is a misunderstood classic.
It is. I agree.
I agree. I mean, I like it. Someone's like, I love this piece of crap movie.
I do
too.
I loved it and I knew it was a piece of crap, and I loved it obviously.
It's a really fun movie, despite what critics may say.
Well, and one of the things I thought, I almost forgot, that I thought was interesting that Verhoeven says in the movie, and I don't know if it was new interviews or if they were existing interviews.
Yeah.
But he talked about the problem with the movies come across that if you're making an extremely violent movie, everybody's okay with it.
Yes, everyone's okay.
But as soon as you make the same tone but with sex, it becomes wrong.
Exactly, because he's comparing it to some of his other movies. The journey of the person.
If you take RoboCop and Total Recall, those are violent movies.
Yes.
And they're massive blockbuster hits.
And he's like, okay, if you're willing to accept that the movie Showgirls is about kind of a hero's journey and her realization that, oh my gosh, what have I become?
Yeah.
That's a cool movie. But you put it in the setting with sex, and people suddenly don't take it serious.
And there's a lot of sex in the movie, and some of it's graphic.
Yeah.
Because, you have smaller sex scenes and stuff like with Basic Instinct and things like this. That movie became iconic, and that scene that Sharon Stone does not like exists became iconic, where she's straightening her legs back and forth, which I'm still going to say I call bullshit on her. Because she's going to say... She
got upset saying she
said she was tricked into shooting that scene, and I'm like, woman, you showed up to this scene with no panties on. I want to hear you talk.
Anyway, somebody said Showgirls was too next level to be appreciated in 1995.
It was, and it was the thing of the sex is so taboo in society. Everybody closets it like it's not something that exists every day. Yet it's not too taboo to shoot somebody in the face.
Yeah, right.
Whereas it's funny in Total Recall.
Yeah, because if you tell a hero journey in the war story or whatever, it's
like,
okay.
Oh my God, it's such a touching film. But if you tell it, and somebody might be a stripper or might be something that you think is, oh my God, that's so trash.
Yeah, so whatever.
It's humorous to see a woman with 3 boobs in Total Recall.
Yeah, that was weird. Who knows? Anyways, check out the documentary, You Don't Know Me.
I know you.
I know. Thanks, babe.
Anyway, it's available now on, I don't know if it's on Blu-ray, but it is on the DVD. So you should check it out. It's great.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
Thank you.
So we got a ton of giveaways going on. 2 of them aren't up yet. They should be going up in the next day or so. Hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow. But we got some older ones still going. We still got a single copy of Enter the Fat Dragon that's going to be going out soon. So this contest is fixing to end probably in the next day or so. So if you haven't got your Donnie Yen in a fat suit martial arts flick, it's fun. We still got a copy of Samurai Marathon.
Nice.
That one's fixing to end as well. So make sure you get in it. It's about samurais running marathons. That's not actually what it's about, but it is at the same time. We still have a couple of copies of Scoob available, the new animated Scooby-Doo flick. That's, to me, it's not even really a Scooby-Doo flick so much as it is a new Hanna-Barbera universe flick.
I like that movie.
I really had fun with this movie. And I had people that were bashing it, saying, oh, I watched it so disappointed. I was like, what the hell, man? This movie is fun.
When there was one part where people were trying to create controversy, and I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, had I not told you, I never saw it.
No, because I'm not thinking bad things when I watch a movie. Y'all should be
but
ashamed of yourself.
We have 2 that are going to be going up, as actually probably 4 more past this, too, when they arrive. But one is called A Dog's Courage. It's a new animated, is it Korean? Yes, it's a new Korean animated film called A Dog's Courage. I kept saying, I want to say A Dog's Purpose. It's A Dog's Courage, which
looks so cute.
We'll probably talk about this on the show here pretty soon because I think it didn't come out till August, so we're gonna wait. And then also a new Indonesian superhero flick called Gundala: Rise of a Hero, which actually looks pretty badass. So we're got copies of this to give away. We'll talk about this probably next week because I'll have to watch it. So unless I get time to watch it and do it on Martial Arts Movie Monday, we'll probably talk about it here instead. Maybe me and you can watch it tonight.
Okay.
All right. Yep. So we have all 5 of these going to be on giveaways. Gundala and Dog's Courage is not up yet, but should be up in the next day or so. And I have 4 4Ks that are due in that are going to be going up on a giveaway as well. And there's some really popular movies coming up, some classics and popular ones, and we'll talk about them on the show as well with those reviews coming up. Son, what else you got, sister?
Oh my gosh, there's so many good things coming out this week.
Oh, am I supposed to talk about my? We'll do it in opposite order. Go ahead and tell
okay. I'm waiting.
That is not coming out.
Oh, is it not after all?
No, we got bumped.
Okay, this.
I don't even know what that is.
This is the Katie Holmes movie I've been waiting.
Oh, that's the screening I have.
Okay, good. It's called
I told you I have.
The Secret: Dare to Dream. I don't know anything, but it has Katie Holmes raising some kids, and I'm in because I love Katie Holmes.
I don't know why. And I have a screener for it,
so this it says not even streaming.
It got pulled.
Dang.
Okay. It got pulled with everything else.
Also streaming online is a movie called What We Found. It's about a girl who goes missing, and the police won't do anything, so her friends try to go find her. You all up on my girl.
Oh my God.
Next is a movie called The Shadow of Violence, streaming online. It actually looks really interesting. It's about this guy who's kind of the enforcer for this.
It's about an hour and a half.
Irish mob kind of thing. We're not saying it does or doesn't exist, but it's the story of him. This one looks interesting. It's coming to Apple TV. It's called Tijuana Jackson.
Oh, is that like a black exploitation film?
It is not. It's about a young man who gets out of prison and wants to change his life around and become a motivational speaker, and it stars Regina Hall, so I am in.
Oh man, you can't make a movie called Tijuana Jackson and make it like a drama. That's a superhero, like a ghetto level superhero.
I don't know.
I'm Tijuana Jackson. I'm here to kick ass and take the hose.
Whatever. It's called Tijuana Jackson: Purpose Over Prison.
Man, that's a total different movie than I would have thought it was.
All right. This one looks interesting. I hope I can see it somewhere. It says it's limited release. It's called She Dies Tomorrow. It's Michelle Rodriguez, convinced she's going to die tomorrow for some reason. So I don't know what's happening, but she's got to deal with her life. This one.
Cutthroat City got moved to August.
Okay. This movie is called The Fight. I don't know. It's Battlefield. I don't even know what it's about. We're gonna see.
Cutthroat City, I'm looking forward to because it's up there. It's a new movie. It's a new movie directed by the RZA.
Oh, okay.
But it's like
this movie streaming online. It says Summerland. I don't know. It's a lady during World War II going off to write. Don't know. This one, The Cuban, limited release, working in a nursing home.
Louis Gossett Jr. in it.
He befriends an elderly Cuban musician and tries to reunite the love of his life or something. So it feels like it's heartwarming. And
is Louis Gossett Jr. playing Cuban?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it says Louis Gossett Jr. is playing a Cuban musician.
An elderly Cuban musician. Reunites.
Hey, Louis Gossett Jr. making a comeback.
Oh, he reunites the girl's love of music and changes her life. Okay, now I get it.
That's crazy, man. Louis Gossett Jr. making a comeback. Because he was in Watchmen as well.
I'm so happy. Did he still have his earring on?
I don't remember. He was in a wheelchair.
Okay. It don't matter. Anyways, there's a lot of good stuff coming out. I'm most excited about Katie Holmes.
Oh, I'm excited about Tijuana Jackson.
I hope we can see that. It's on Apple TV.
We'll find it. I just wanted to yell Tijuana Jackson.
But it's not that. It's Tijuana Jackson.
Oh, what if they made Tijuana Jackson versus Action Jackson?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Now that's a movie you should watch.
Continue.
There's not a whole lot of big stuff coming on Blu-ray and stuff this week. We've got a Shout Factory is doing a collector's edition version of 13 Ghosts, which
cool.
we'll talk about. We'll revisit that movie and we'll talk about that.
Watch that again. It's been a long time.
They have Warner Brothers is releasing the Blu-ray Wonder Woman the complete series.
Wonder Woman.
I already tried to get it, but they're not sending out review copies.
I think I have.
We have it already.
I have 3. Was it just 3 seasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have it on DVD.
I have them up there.
I requested to get the Blu-ray, but they said we're not doing review copies of that. So
be that way.
But if you haven't got it, there's a good chance to get it on Blu-ray. They're releasing Stephen King's Graveyard Shift on Blu-ray. Also, The Outsider, the first season is hitting. And then a bunch of other random, trying to see if there's anything new. Oh, We'll talk about it, but I'm very irritated by the collection I got. I was so ready to talk about it on the show and show this badass looking collection. But it's Gamera, the complete collection, which is basically Turtle Godzilla. So we'll talk about it. But it's such a cool looking collection, and they ended up sending me just the disc, and it's so annoying.
That's okay. We can print something out to go with it.
No, I know, but I wanted everybody to be able to see that because it comes with a big collection. It comes with like a comic book, and it comes with all these.
Did you get the comic book?
No, they didn't send me anything. They just sent me the disc in those plastic cases. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna follow up with them and ask them because I did request it, but anyway, it is what it is. But that's it.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We didn't think we had much to talk about, but here we are.
Well, it's because we went on a lot of tangents.
I know, but that's what we do. We know you have nothing else to do but watch us anyway because you're stuck at home. So thank you. You can check us out at HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to go up to the top and hit contests so you can get all that free stuff. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and Facebook. You can find us on the Twitter and the Instagram.
Oh, is it my turn now?
It's your turn.
I never know when I'm allowed to speak.
You're allowed to speak.
You yell at me a lot. Don't forget, join me for another martial art movie Mondays, where I have my film. I'm just going to make sure I have time to watch it.
Okay.
And I'm still planning a 2-parts episode that's focused on a long franchise that I've been wanting to talk about, but I keep getting behind on it. I got to finish watching all the movies first. And then I don't know if we're going to do TV Tuesday or not. We keep planning it and things keep happening. So if we do, we'll do it. If we don't, we won't. Get over yourself. You probably weren't going to watch it anyway. And then be back here on Sunday for another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live, where we'll talk about other nonsense.
There you go.
All right?
Thank you so much.
So be on the lookout for new trailers, new contests, and other stuff at our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and our Facebook page and all the other good things in life.
Hit all the things.
Wear your mask. Be nice.
Be nice.
Peace and love.
Peace be with you. I have to get up now and go turn off the camera.
Get out of here.